Okay. First chart. 5 and 4, very nice. 6 and 9, very nice. 10 and 3, very nice. Those ones are the easiest ones because the product is positive. So you can put this here. How do you multiply so that the product is positive? Both the terms are going to be positive. Now, what if both terms were negative? It'd still be a positive, but if you added two negatives up, would they be positive? Good. So that's why this first chart of all of them is the simplest one. Okay, let's try the next chart. This one's not going to be so easy. Good. -7 and -4. Two negatives will make a positive, but when they add, they get more negative. 07, 04, you owe 11. How about the next one? -4, -8. And the last one. Now what's special about all those ones? Good. A negative times a negative is a positive. But when you add them up, it becomes more negative. Very nice. A negative plus a negative becomes more negative. And for the last chart, negative, +9, -2. Because if you add them, you're left with +7. So you got to take 2 from 9. You have to think of, for this chart, they're going to be different signs. Why are they going to be different signs? Because the product is negative. If the product is negative, that's because it's a positive times a negative. But when you add them, they're going to work against each other. Now, if it ends up positive, like the first two, what do you notice about the bigger value? Positive. So what should the bigger value be for these ones if it ends up negative? Negative. The negative one will dominate here. So what multiplies to 21? And I literally just put 7 and 3 and then I think about the sign. So the bigger one's got to be negative. Now how about 40? And for 40, I'll just show you, like 40 could be 40 times 1. It could be 20 times 2. It could be 10 times 4. It could be 8 times 5. And I believe that's it. So those are all of the options. Now, which one of those options could you get to -3 by adding and subtracting? Yeah, it's got to be this one. They have a separation of 3. So it's 8 and 5. And then which one's going to be negative? The bigger one. Okay? So what I did on the right here, that's what you do if you're stuck. I can't think of the numbers. Okay, what are all the factors of 40? List them, and then it's got to be one of them, and then I can pick. All right, this is beautiful. Okay, so let's do one together underneath so you can see right underneath this example. Okay, what's the A value? What's the B value? What's the C value? 12. Okay, so I need two special numbers that will multiply to 12. So blank times blank equals 12, but blank plus blank equals 7. A lot of people are saying it now. So those are those special numbers, 4 and 3. So then this guy will have two factors that have an x in the front, because just imagine when you multiply this out. X times x will give you the x squared. Then you need a 4 and a 3. Okay? So those are those blanks. Those are those numbers that you put here. Okay, we'll do this together. We'll multiply it just to double check. X times x, x squared. X times 4. Hold that in your mind. 3 times x. Those are like terms, right? 4x and 3x make the 7x. And then the very last one is 3 times 4, the 12. So that's factoring trinomials when a is 1. See this 1 right here? This is how you factor trinomials when a is 1. I call this one actually inspection. That's what I call it. That's what I will be calling it. Because you just have to inspect the numbers. Like, I think it's going to be these numbers. Inspection. 3 and 4. Any questions before we move on? Okay, so we're going to do these. I'll do the bottom 4. You guys can do the top 4. So for each one of these, Mr. Donnelly, for each one of these, I just want you to write this beside it. What's up, buddy? Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to do the bottom 4 for you guys. So zooming in on the bottom 4. So something times something is going to equal negative 12. And something plus something is going to equal positive 1. I'm going to write this on my whiteboard so that, well, you see it here. On the whiteboard here. They're going to add to b. So they're adding to a 1. And they got to multiply, they got a product, they got to multiply to c. C is negative 12. So what multiplies to 12? Negative. Okay, so it's 3 and 4. 6 and 2 is not going to work, and 12 and 1 is not going to work. Now, which one of those has got to be negative? Because it's got to be a positive times a negative. So look at the sum. Look at the sum. It ends up positive, right? Good. The bigger one should be positive. Because 4 is larger than 3 in terms of size. So if it ends up, if the result is positive, the one that dominates is positive. If it ended up negative, the 4 would be negative for the sum. And there you go. That's the answer. So you open up the length and width bracket. First term is x. Second term is one of the values, and the other term is the other value. That's the factoring. So this guy equals this guy. It's the same expression written differently. All right, next one. And again, this is done on purpose. They've chosen A just to mess with your mind. But if I was you, like, I would just go, this is x in your mind. Okay? It's just a variable. So don't get hung up on the fact that they're using A there. So something times something is negative 35, and something plus something is negative 2. You have to take the sign with you, or else it won't work out. Now you have to remember your rules for multiplying integers. Positive times positive is positive. Positive times negative is negative. And negative times negative is positive. This has to be in your mind while you're doing this. Our product is negative. So if our product is negative, they're going to have different sign. So which two numbers multiply to 35 and have a separation of 2? Yeah, 7 and 5. 7 and 5. And then which one has to be negative? The 7. Good. So that when you add them, it ends up negative. The bigger one has to be negative. So that expression will be equal to a length times a width, where it's a minus 7 and a plus 5. Next one. Something times something is 48. Something plus something is 14. This one's nice because everything's positive. 6 times 8. That was quick, whoever that was. 6 times 8 and 6 plus 8. That one's quick. X plus 6, x plus 8. Very nice. Very easy, that one, actually. And one more from me. Okay, so something times something is 6. Something plus something is negative 5. This one's a bit tougher. How do you multiply so you get a positive, but when you add the two things, you get a negative? Two negatives, good. And what are they? Yeah, very nice. So this guy will have a factor of m minus 2 and a factor of m minus 3. Okay, so the top 4 are for you guys. I forgot to start the video, so we have 2 here that we finished, and you're on your own, I guess. So for the middle one, she actually factored out a negative 2, and I would take an x with it. That way, the first term becomes positive x squared, and then it's a lot easier to factor if it's positive lead coefficient. Yeah, negative 10 because the signs are switching, and then plus 24. So that's the start of the second one, where we factored out the GCF first. And now you have to do inspection on just the remaining trinomial. What do you think those magic numbers are? Oh, yeah. Very good. Negative 6 and negative 4. Okay, so there's only one left on this page that isn't complete. So you guys can try this yellow one on your own. So we're just going to do a little bit of quiz preparation here. And I want you to just write down this random polynomial. And we're going to expand this. Okay, we're going to expand this one. So I just want you to think, how are you going to distribute? Are you going to put the 5 into one of these? Do you put them into both? Could I FOIL first and then put the 5? So you have two options. FOIL first, simplify, then put the 5 in. Or put the 5 into one of them, and one of them only. If you put 5 into both, that's like multiplying by 25. You can only put the 5 into one of them. I personally would probably FOIL. So I'm going to do that. X times 3x. X times 2. 4 times 3. And 4 times 2. Where'd the 5 go? It still stays on the outside. Now before I put that 5 in, is there anything I could do to the black expression there? Collect the like terms. Very nice. And you used proper vocabulary too, which is gorgeous. Now that it's simplified, 2 and 12 make the 14. I'm going to throw the 5 in now. So I get a 15x squared. 5 times 14 is 5 times 10 is 50 plus 20 is 70x plus a 40. How did I do that 5 times 14 so quickly? No. Don't say that. You're a math student. Watch this. What's 5 times 10? Plus 4 extra groups of 5. Because 14, you could think of as like 10 plus 4, right? 5 groups of 10 is 50. 5 groups of 4 is 20. 50 and 20 make 70. It's like a mental math, right? Now one more that can mess students up pretty big time. It's this one here. This one can mess people up pretty big time. This is what your gut instinct wants you to do, and it's not true. That's not true. Even though that's what you want to do. Like, what's the square of x? X squared. What's the square of negative 4? 16 positive. That's not true. What's it missing? What always went in the middle? Right? What does it mean to square something? It means you have to write it twice. That's the length and this is the width. So you have to FOIL. X squared minus 4x minus 4x again plus 16. So altogether it's x squared minus 8x plus 16. See the key difference between these two? What's the key difference? The middle term. Middle term, right? I think my pen might be dying or something. Okay, so this right here is a very common mistake. Don't make it. So this one's good. This one's sad. So that's the assignment. So you have about 10 to 12 minutes before I hand out the quiz. You can do a quick refresher on some of this stuff in that assignment. And I'll hand out the quiz shortly here. So keep the noise level to a minimum, and you're working, and the quiz is coming.